Good afternoon. Welcome to SJ Weekly for October 28th, 2018. I was just outside. We're actually having the first snow of the year. Yeah, that's how it is in Canada, guys. We get 5 months of snow. It's actually quite beautiful, though, I must say. The first snow always looks quite good, at least here in Canada. And when I came back in, I was welcomed by my girlfriend with a cup of hot cocoa. So here it is, guys. I think she put coffee in this too. This is like a coffee cocoa mix. It's pretty good. One thing to announce real quick, the pinned comment on this video is a link to my Twitter where I have a poll going. And the poll is in regards to using YouTube's new Premiere option. For those of you who don't know, the Premiere option allows you to basically live stream your own video when it releases, and people can hop into a chat room on YouTube and watch it together, and then once the premiere is over, it becomes a regular video. I actually really like the feature, which is why I've been using it kind of heavily. It's just really fun to hang out with you guys in the chat room and chat it up with you as the new video plays, because, you know, I appreciate all y'all's enthusiasm about it, right? However, some people have said that the premieres, they lower your view count, which I don't really care too much about. They take videos out of people's notification boxes, which can definitely be a problem. And some people just don't like the new feature. They just want to be able to watch the video when it comes out. So this poll I have up is basically about when and how do you guys want to see me use YouTube Premieres. So I just put it up and people are already voting on it. YouTube Premiere usage, all the time, so every single video I do. Only for SJ Weeklies, which will be once a week on Sunday, this video. Only for Dumping with Scrumps, or only for, so let's say, special SFOs, like big projects. The video I posted yesterday, the BetterHelp video, I wouldn't consider that to be a special SFO. I think I did a good job on it, but it's not like a long form thing. It was about 20 minutes long. But like whenever I release a big project, I'll use it for then. So I would like to add another couple options here, but it's Twitter, and Twitter sucks. But there you go, guys. Vote on that. Tell me what you think. I really like all the time, but I can see why some people don't like it. You know, everyone has their own opinion, right? It's not a big deal. But I'll leave it for you to decide. Let's start off with something lighthearted. This didn't age well. Does more cost less? It's that simple, Apple. Oh, I know that was the case maybe 20 years ago, back when, you know, Macs were kind of the default school computer. But it's kind of the opposite now, isn't it? Now it costs more and does less. I would say let's move on to something more substantive, but this is not really the case. Social engineering. Thomas the Tank Engine's new railway friend is a refugee from Kenya called Nia to teach younger viewers about equality and diversity. Not content simply to be with entertaining children, Thomas the Tank Engine is on much bigger mission? Is on a much bigger? Whatever. To be a global force for good. Oh boy. The latest series of animated TV program features a female Kenyan train called Nia. So is the reason she's Kenyan because they added like some kind of African looking pattern on the side of the train? Maybe because they gave her like a wider nose. Also, this is apparently the train from India. This is the Indian train. They kind of gave her a stereotypical nose too, and then made her look like one of those fancy Indian brides you see wearing like the 8 layers of elaborate silk. We see that Nia doesn't have a home, so she has to stay in Sodor, where Thomas works side by side with her to get jobs done. We're able to bring the idea of a refugee into the mind of a young person without calling them a refugee. Someone who looks different to you might end up being your neighbor and good friend. For those of you who don't know, Thomas the Tank Engine takes place on the fictional island of Sodor, which is off the coast of England, and is right across from the Isle of Man. Now, in real life, there is no island here. This town here on the coast of England that connects to Vicarstown, that's actually just a port city with nothing here. The Isle of Man is just on its own. But in Thomas the Tank Engine, they made this fictional island, which is its own country. It's not part of the UK. And what's interesting is that if you get deep into Thomas the Tank Engine lore, which, holy fuck, does that sound ridiculous? The island of Sodor has actually fought with the United Kingdom to remain independent. And there is a weaving backstory throughout the entire narrative that they are their own people. So this idea that an insular nation would start accepting, refugee trains from Kenya. Okay, this is just getting too stupid. I know that there's probably a point here, but holy fuck. Well, maybe if we followed this advice from Vox, I might actually be able to truly enjoy Thomas the Tank Engine lore. How our drinking water could help prevent suicide. Some researchers think putting lithium in our water could save lives. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just get a big old tank of milk of the poppy, of laudanum, and just pour it into the springs of the world, and we'll just put antidepressants in every single town and city's water supply. Why not? That's the fucking solution here. Lithium is a potent psychiatric drug, one of the primary described indications for bipolar disorder. Most people don't have fucking bipolar disorder, but it's also an element that occurs naturally all over the Earth's crust, including bodies of water. That means that small quantities of lithium wind up in the tap water you consume every day. Just how much is in the water varies quite a bit from place to place. Naturally, that made researchers curious. Are places with more lithium in the water healthier mentally? Do places with more lithium have less depression or bipolar, or more importantly of all, fewer suicides? A 2014 review of studies concluded that the answer was yes. 4 of 5 studies reviewed found that places with higher levels of trace lithium had lower suicide rates. I don't know if you can actually put these two things together. I mean, maybe this is cause for further research, but I don't think you can just be like, yeah, let's just drug the water supply. That's what we got to do. You know what? Let's not actually tackle any of our problems. Let's just put happy pills in the water supply, dilute that shit up, make everyone so high on everything that they don't even have to deal with their own lives. But this does seem to be the left's way of dealing with dissent. They don't like to actually engage problems, they just like to edit humanity so that they go away. Disabling parts of the brain with magnets can weaken faith in God and changes attitudes to immigrants. Yeah, this is the future. This is the future, guys. If you don't agree with the progressive way, if you have a dissenting opinion, if you have your own views on something, then very clearly you need lithium in your water. Very clearly you need magnets in your brain. Very clearly something is wrong with you because you don't adhere to the ideology. It's the ideology that comes first, not you as a person. Among those who received the strong magnetic dose, 32.8% fewer had decreased beliefs in God, angels, and heaven compared to the control group who received no dose. And 25.8% more of those who had received TMS had a more positive response to the immigrant who had written a negative letter about their country. In other words, those given the magnetic treatment were found to have decreased beliefs in God and more positive views towards immigrants. Imagine the future, alright? Let's say you're a British citizen who is concerned with the amount of Muslims pouring into the UK and not assimilating. Let's say you're an American citizen who is concerned with the amount of illegal immigrants pouring in from the south and not assimilating. These people are pushing their own way of life and replacing the native culture of these countries. Let's say that you're somebody who's a part of that native culture and is concerned about this. Well, the Ministry of Truth can now implant a magnet in your brain, and you will no longer be concerned. That's how we solve these problems, guys. That's how we solve the problem of massive immigration. That's how we solve the problem of fundamentalist Islam and of MS-13 and of all these other problematic things. We just round up all the racists, put magnets in their brain, and then they will no longer be racist. They'll be happy, they'll have their lithium drinks, and everything will be A-okay. Let's switch gears here to a person on Discord who decided to PM me. Because he's directly involved in the next story, I'm not going to be revealing his name, but he says, I thought you might be interested. I'm a student rep in Southampton, and our student president is trying to take down a war monument to white men who died serving the country. There's a massive uproar in university about it. Even lefties are outraged. And then he later says, fuck me, I've been commanded to leave the union building. Maybe my student rep job goes at the price of complaint. Oh, did he complain? That sucks. Also, if you inform V, Sargon, and the others, that would be great. I love your content, but I would also like the others to know about this shit in our university. Quick update, the student union is arresting complaints that the alt-right are the ones outraged, not the left and right-leaning students gathering outside their building. That sentence seems a bit weirdly parsed. Are people getting arrested because they're complaining against this? Hey, what's going on? Are you arrested? We'll see what he says, I guess. But here's the actual Change.org petition on this subject. President of the Southampton Student Union to stand down immediately. 8,343 people have signed it. Let's get 25. Yeah, go sign that, guys. Emily, the union president, Sutton Prez, mark my words. We're taking down the mural of white men in the university Senate room, even if I have to paint over it myself. Emily Dawes, the Southampton University Student Union president, should apologize and stand down immediately regarding her offensive comments made using her work-associated Twitter account. Dawes vowed to remove the mural in the university Senate room, threatening to vandalize it herself due to it depicting white men. The mural in fact depicts the young men who left Southampton University to fight during the First World War, receiving their degrees which many of them did not return to receive. Not only that, but it is a memorial to all those who died during the conflict. Dawes' comments, fueled by the simple fact that the men in the mural are white, are unacceptable and offensive to the vast majority of students who choose to support remembrance. Therefore, this is an unacceptable abuse of an elected position to further her own political agenda, and as admitted by the student union, is not in line with their mission or values. I went to go see her Twitter, but seems like it's protected. Seems like she understands that there's now heat coming down on her. Oh, but her student union has decided to throw her under the bus. We apologize for the recent statement from our president regarding the Rothstein mural and any upset this may have caused. This is a personal view and not that of the union. We do not believe the statement was said to cause upset or disrespect to anyone and does not follow our mission or values. We have reached out to our president to ask for a statement to be released. Well, Emily Dawes, that was 3 days ago. Where's that statement? I'd love to read it. And here is why I will always land on the side of innocence before guilt. Here's why this is a hill that I will fucking die on. John Bunn, wrongfully jailed at 14 in the 1991 murder of a correction officer, cries as he's exonerated. Tears flowed down the face of a newly exonerated Brooklyn man as he railed about the crooked process that stole 17 years of his life. He was convicted in August 1991, killing based on tainted evidence produced by an ex-detective, and he turned angry on Tuesday as prosecutors announced they would not retry his case. They won't admit I'm an innocent man, said the emotional Bunn, now 41, as he clutched the hands of his lawyers in a Brooklyn courtroom. Y'all had the wrong man this whole time, and you have someone out there running free, and y'all had no right to do what you did. Let's watch this video. Let me get my headphones here.
Can you take us back to you being 14 years old and just kind of what you thought when this all first started?
When I was 14 years old, I always thought that being I was innocent, that the system was going to fix it by itself. And it didn't. It took 27 years, and it took the Exoneration Initiative, and it took a lot of praying, it took a lot of God, and it took a lot of my mother having my back.
This is why I'll never be pro-death penalty, because humans are fallible. We never have the complete whole truth, ever. We're always subjective. And there is no way, unless maybe you catch something on video, some kind of objective truth that you can call back to and play on demand. But aside from that, man, once you kill somebody, you can't take it back. So I don't believe in the death penalty. And I will never believe in just listening to victims. I will never side with listen and believe. I will never side with Me Too, because this is what happens. This is where witch hunts go. This is what happens when you assume that somebody is a criminal not based on any kind of evidence, but based on their gender or their skin color. And I don't care how unpopular it may get in the future, I am never, ever, ever going to side with the people who do this kind of shit. People like George Yancey, who writes for the New York Times here with his article, #IamSexist. It's time that we men take responsibility for our role in the problem of violence against women. No. I have not committed violence against women. Therefore, I will not take responsibility for violence against women. I don't care if you share the same set of genitals as me. I am not responsible for what you do. Men, listen up. Fuck off. In light of a year of disturbing revelations from the #MeToo movement, and from last month's profoundly troubling Brett Kavanaugh hearings and his eventual confirmation to the Supreme Court, it is time that we men act. This is how I will act. I will stand for Brett Kavanaugh. Because even though I don't necessarily agree with all of his politics, I don't agree with most of his politics, I like even less that the political left tried to destroy a man for political reasons with no proof, with no evidence. Join me with due diligence and civic duty and publicly claim I am sexist. Well, at least you can admit it, right? Like, this is kind of how things work. Do you want to find the male rapists, the actual male rapists? Look for male feminists, because they're generally the rapists and the sexists who have a guilty conscience about it, and they're trying to wipe the slate clean, so they're putting on their pussy hats and they're protesting against Trump, and they're talking about how good they can be for the feminist movement. But they will definitely, when push comes to shove, they'll roundhouse kick a woman in the face, or they'll talk down to them, or they'll basically try to co-opt feminism in some other way. Perhaps it is time that we lay claim to a movement. Hashtag I am sexist. Think about its national and international implications as we take responsibility for our sexism, our misogyny, our patriarchy. Yeah, guys, this is what you should do. Throw yourselves on the pyre. You know, it's not like there are worse men who are actual patriarchs out there. It's not like Saudi Arabia is a bad place or anything. It's not like Islam isn't the most repressive, brutal, abusive religion to exist at this point. It's goony, bearded white boys who wear plaid and drink Soylent and write articles for Vox all day. Those are the sexists. Those people are peak problematic masculinities. And once you guys completely wipe yourselves out, then honorable, equal-minded brown men can fill the vacuum, can fill the masculinity vacuum. And I'm sure they will definitely be less misogynistic. I'm sure of it. But let's see what kind of sexism this idiot here has actually perpetuated. Before I got married, I insisted that my wife take my last name. After all, she was to become my wife, so why not take my last name and become part of me? She refused. She wanted to keep her own last name, and arguing that a woman taking her husband's name was a patriarchal practice. I was not happy, especially as she had her father's last name, which I argued contradicted her position against patriarchy. But as she argued, this is my name and it's part of my identity, I became stubborn and interpreted her decision as evidence of a lack of full commitment to me. Well, she brilliantly proposed that we both change our last names and take on a new name together, showing our commitment to each other. Despite the charity, challenge, and reasonableness of the offer, I dropped the ball. That day I learned something about me. I didn't respect her autonomy, her legal standing and personhood. As pathetic as this may sound, I saw her as my property, to be defined by my name and according to my legal standing. She kept her name. While this was not sexual assault, my insistence was a violation of her independence. I had inherited a subtle, yet still violent form of toxic masculinity. I mean, I guess if you actually believe that words are violence, as ridiculous of an idea as that is why you would see this disagreement as being violent. Don't get me wrong, I'm not exactly sure where I stand on the whole changing your name debate, but I'm pretty sure it's somewhere with the do what you want camp. I don't care. But man, having a disagreement over this, it's not violence. It's having a disagreement. And coming to a compromise where maybe both of you are not necessarily super happy about it, but you can live with it, that's not violence either. This is why the far left is finding it so hard to make traction right now, is because they view everything as violent. Not only is violence violent, but words are violence, and feelings are violence, and opinions are violence, and compromise and negotiation is violent. And you know what? If you would even stand on a stage with someone you disagree with, it's oppressive. And in that vein, we have this tweet. Star Wars is fascist, Harry Potter is fascist, neo-feudal Drek, selfie obsession is fascist, British soap operas are fascist, sci-fi is generally fascist, ironic detachment is fascist, porn is fascist, mass cult under imperialism is inherently fascistic. Sorry to spoil your fun. So this guy, I think, is the ultimate hipster, all right? It's not just that he knew things before they were cool. It's not just that he completely rejects the mainstream from his own life, but the mainstream itself is inherently fascist. Let's head back to the New York Times. Under Sarah Jeong's great leadership, we have more articles, such as this one by Charles M. Blow. Count me among the mob, if it means people who stand in opposition to Trump's degradation of the country. Well, okay. This was published on the 21st, by the way. One thing that I find profoundly disappointing about modern liberalism, particularly as it now stands in opposition to Trumpism, is the degree to which it is reactive, governed by what is being done to it rather than its own positive vision. The problem with this is that classical liberalism, not modern liberalism as you kind of weasel word it here, but classical liberalism is in line with Trump because he was voted in. He's not necessarily doing too much just yet that runs against liberal values. Resisting what Trump represents becomes a central point of moral rectitude and ultimate patriotism. Resistance is a reaction to Trump, but that can't be the sum total of one's statement of principles. You must be driven towards a concept of what you want this country to become, and not just driven by a fear of what the country could descend into. These remarks here are actually kind of the problem with the Democratic Party right now, is that they exist solely as a mechanism to react to Trump's behaviors and his accomplishments, and they don't actually have anything of substance of their own. They're just a machine that takes in whatever Trump gives them and then spits out moral outrage. And that's not really a compelling view for the country. And let's be honest about it, this type of reacting is why Trump won in the first place, because during Obama's second term, if you all recall, the Republicans were simply a vehicle that reacted to Obama in much the same way. And that's why basically all of the old guard Republicans were destroyed by Trump. Trump came in as a relatively fresh face with some new ideas, and all of the Obama reactionary era Republicans got steamrolled by him because they had nothing to say about it other than Obama's bad and Hillary's bad. But this guy ends the article with, Trump is going to be Trump, stop playing by his rules, don't allow him to dictate the terms of the debate. Let him call you whatever he likes. If he says you're a part of the mob, so be it. All right. So I guess it's okay to be part of a mob, isn't it? Count me among the mob. Well, Charles M. Blow wrote this article 3 days later. Rhetoric, mobs, and terror. The explosive devices are released into a toxic atmosphere created by Trump. We can say without equivocation that Trump's stoking of fear and riling of anger is deeply problematic and indeed dangerous. I don't know. I mean, you did seem to just join the mob 3 days ago, didn't you? Like you were all for this kind of shit. Let's go north of the border to my native country of Canada. In fact, we're going to be talking about Vancouver, a city where many of my friends have moved since finishing college. It's actually a very nice city. But Vancouver is basically Canada's Southern California. The same culture exists there. The same kind of demographic makeup exists there. And you have restaurants like this. This is filed on Munchies under their cultural appropriation tag. This chef wants to reclaim bone broth. Mithali Rawat sees her bone broth as a way of reclaiming the culture she's watched be appropriated for decades. What is there to do when the culture being manufactured and therefore appropriated is your own? That's where Mithali Rawat comes in. The 31-year-old queer woman of color runs the Shorba Broth Bar in Vancouver, where she makes a bone broth that applies the principles of Ayurveda, an ancient food science of India, believed to be over 3,000 years old. Well, it seems to me that in making this ancient bone broth from India, she's appropriating many things from Western culture. For example, a modern chef's uniform and an apron, a large stainless steel pot, and modern cooking utensils. Perhaps if reclaiming her culture is important to her, and if perhaps we must keep all cultures separate in order to avoid contamination, alt-right style, perhaps she should be using traditional Indian implements and not appropriating my culture. Currently, the Shorba Broth Bar offers both chicken and beef broth. To many consumers, the use of beef might be a red flag, but to just a common misconception. Okay, Hindus can't eat beef. The majority of people in India, the majority of people who would be eating this bone broth, they'd be Hindu. You can't put the blood and juices from a holy animal into a food that yeah, you know what this is? She's white on the inside, Indian on the outside, born in Canada, raised in Canada, has only a passing connection to her own culture, and just loves Canadian eating habits too much. So she's going to make her bone broth, and she's going to decolonize it by adding Canadian beef to it. Yeah. You've probably never spent a day in your life in India. We also have a PSA that encourages kids to steal parents' guns and hand them over to teachers. Holy shit. A startling new gun ad released by a San Francisco-based, of course, production company encourages children to commit a series of crimes by stealing their parents' guns and turning them over to school officials. So theft, possession of firearms by someone who is unlicensed, possession of firearms by someone who is underage, bringing a firearm to school, improperly locking them up. Okay, you know, let's actually watch it, because I have a copy of it here. It's since been taken down, but I did manage to find it. Ooh, the sad piano, dude, the sad piano. I've got to be Elliot Rodger, dude. Just can't get a girlfriend. Of course, it would be the only white kid in the school. Jesus Christ. Oh, here we go.
Can you take this away? I don't feel safe with the gun in my house.
Okay, and that night, a robber came in, raped and killed his mom while he watched, and he wished he still had the fucking gun. Normally, I would applaud at that ridiculous video, but it seems like I'm not allowed to anymore. Clapping banned at university to avoid triggering anxiety, with students told to do jazz hands instead. I remember this going viral like during the early days of Gamergate, but no, this is actually a new article. Well, new-ish. It's from October 3rd. The University of Manchester Students' Union passed the resolution to ban clapping at student union events at the first Senate session of the academic year on September 27th. You see, I just do it anyway. We'd be like at an event, I'd be kind of sitting there in the audience, and then something would happen, I'd just be like, woo! On the NPC episode of Dumping with Scrump, Scrump actually took a little sidetrack to tutor me on how the BBC works, and specifically the collections fees, because apparently they have people that like come around to your house if you haven't paid. Like if you own a TV and you haven't paid for the BBC licensing fee, and they'll like knock on your door and ask you to pay it, or like ask to inspect your property to see if you have a TV or not, which just sounds alien and ridiculous. But maybe you should pay it, Scrump, because this is what it goes towards. Tasting flavored condoms, because why not? Okay, guidance, adult humor, BBC Scotland. Yeah. And like, why couldn't you get at least like a decent looking girl to...
You might have seen a while back that I made these videos about testing condoms, and at the end of it I made this wee joke. And please do share this if you enjoyed it, because the BBC said that if this doesn't do well, I have to do a flavoured condom test. Then people in the comments started saying this. And then I got this in the post from BBC The Social. It is filled with flavoured condoms and a note that says, "Get these tasted." Well, BBC, it's your lucky day, because my so-called friend broke my glasses, and this is the easiest way and the quickest way for me to make money to buy a new pair.
Wait, hold on. He's in front of a green screen. Does he even... Hold on. Why sit in front of a green screen and have like a studio set up if you're not going to even use it once in the whole video? If you're in the UK and you're desperate to become a YouTuber, don't ever join BBC The Social. Not only because it's a massive waste of taxpayer money, but this is what they're going to make you do. Let's end off with this one, another one from Scotland. Woman wins £80,000 in damages from man cleared of raping her in St. Andrews. Jesus, so he didn't do it. Stephen Coxon has denied the rape charges against him, and the case was found not proven in a criminal court. Why is he paying $80,000? The woman, who cannot be named, had sued Stephen Coxon, who is now 23, from Bury in Greater Manchester. The second-year student said she was raped after a night out in St. Andrews in 2013 by Mr. Coxon, who she had met earlier in the evening. Mr. Coxon has denied the charges, and in November 2015, a jury found the case against him not proven. But now, in a case understood to be the first of its kind in Scotland, a sheriff in a civil action has ruled Mr. Coxon raped the woman, known as Miss M, and demanded he pay damages. So even as it was ruled not proven, the criminal case not proven, in a civil case, one of these unelective Scottish sheriffs that we seem to know a lot about due to Dankula's case, he's like, no, you're still paying. Doesn't matter if it's unproven. You're still gonna pay. Pay your 80,000 fucking pounds because why not? Because you were accused. The punishment for being in the wrong place at the wrong time, such that you could be accused of something, is 80,000 pounds. Sort yourself out, young man. Never put yourself in a place where you can be accused ever again. It's fucking ridiculous. I wouldn't fucking pay it. Fuck you. The sheriff heard that Mr. Coxon, who was then 18, had driven up from Manchester in September 2013 to visit a friend who was beginning his second year at St. Andrews University. Mr. Coxon met Miss M, who was an 18-year-old student, at the Lizard Lounge in the town. The judgment said she had been drinking heavily at a party but was still able to gain entry to the club at about midnight. At some point after her arrival, she is reported to have been seen kissing with Mr. Coxon in the club's smoking lounge. Yeah, he sounds like a rapist. This is not just hookup culture working as intended. This is not just two drunk, horny 18-year-olds getting it on one night, and then she feels regret for it the next day. She's like, oh, I'm not that kind of girl. It's obviously all his fault. No, this is fucking disgusting. Dude, Steven, just leave the country. If they're going to throw you in jail for not paying, just fuck off, man. Just go. You know what? Go. You hopefully at 23 you've now become like some kind of professional. Move to the States or something. Get the fuck out of here. Because Jesus Christ, this woman deserves nothing of yours, and you shouldn't have to pay a single goddamn dime of that 80,000. Well, we've come to the end of today's SJ Weekly. This one ran a little bit long, but I don't mind. You know, I have billions of links I got to get through. I think I'll just load up on some extras each week, just so we can chew through the pile. There's some old stuff in there I want to get done. Come by tonight, though, on this channel. Not my Twitch channel this time, but this channel, the main SFO channel on YouTube, because we're going to be having the October Community Night. So if you are a Twitch sub, or if you're a Patreon donator, we're all going to hop into a voice call and on the SFO Discord, and we're going to watch a movie. We're going to watch, this time it's going to be Chud 2, Bud the Chud, for Halloween. Additionally, it's my girlfriend's birthday today, so when we finally come on the stream, guys, make sure to spam the chat room, happy birthday, Naomi. Okay, my friends, I'll see you there. I love you.